Hey there, I'm Olga Ralko from the first Gymnasium Nadia, and I've got a grammar lesson for you today again. Okay, I'm really excited to be sharing this lesson for you because the topic we are going to discuss today is one that you have been asking for a while. We are talking about conditional sentences in English. So, I'm going to get through the basic structure and the meaning of all conditional sentences in English. If you have studied these sentences before, then this video is going to be an awesome revision for you. But if you are not so familiar with it, okay, then it is going to be a good introduction. So, let's get started. Well, you know, sometimes it feels like English grammar can be seen pretty loose. What I mean, yes, there are some English rules, but they don't apply always. Or another word, okay, there are so many grammatical exceptions. Yes, I get it, it's true, and I've got to teach it. Okay. There are some grammatical structures that follow absolutely clear rules. And the structure of conditional sentences is so nice and clear. It makes it easier for us to feel confident about the way we express our thoughts and ideas while speaking spoken language. Well, okay, we use conditional sentences for things actually happen. What actually happened? Then what could happen? I mean, a possible and a likely outcome in the future. And when we talk about what we wish would happen, so to say, imagining a different outcome for our present situation. And finally, what might have happened. So thinking about a different outcome happened in the past. And now there are 4 different types of conditional sentences. Let's have a look at this number of sentences. Look at them, please. They are really similar, and they look similar, but they are not the same. If I get sick, I go to the doctor. If I get sick, I will go to the doctor. If I got sick, I would go to the doctor. If I had been sick, I would have gone to the doctor. You see, they are all different. So, let's talk about what is the same firstly, or what's similar about all these sentences. First of all, they all use 2 clauses. I mean, there are 2 parts to each sentence, separated by a comma, and they all use a conjunction if. As you see. In all conditional sentences, we have an if clause and a result clause. The if clause is the event or a situation that must happen in order for another action to happen. So the result, in other words, can only happen if the if clause occurs, you see? And that is why they are called conditionals, conditional sentences. A condition is something that you have to do or something that needs to exist in order for something else to happen. Easy, right? Now, these all sentences again, look at them. They are quite similar, but there are something but there are some things that show us real differences. I mean, check out the verbs. They are in bold. This is where we can find the main difference between them. And the meaning is different too. We use each type of a sentence as in a different situations. If you haven't already noticed, I'll tell it again. If I get sick, I go. You see? If I get sick, I will go. Absolutely different time. If I got sick, I would go. If I had been sick, I would have gone. Okay, so what do we have? We have the zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. And I'm going to go through each type of conditional sentences now, one by one. So let's get started with the zero conditional. And I recommend you to take some notes as we go through all these examples. Believe me, it will be very useful. Okay, the zero conditional is called the factual conditional. You see? If I get sick, I go to the doctor. And it's one of the easiest things to remember because both clauses in the present simple. If clause in the present simple, and the present simple comes in the result clause as well. So, if this happens, then this is what happens then. You see? We use zero conditional to talk about habits, facts, and truths. You can't argue about these things, right? With these things, we aren't discussing. It's a fact. If you put ice in your drink, it melts. This is a good example, right? And very easy. Let's keep on. First conditional. We use the first conditional to talk about possible and likely future outcomes. If I get sick, I will go to the doctor. So, we use if with the present simple, and we use will with our verb infinitive in the main result clause. If it's hot tomorrow, I'll go for a swim at the beach. Now, am I sure that I will go? And am I sure that it will be hot tomorrow? But if it is, it's highly likely that I will go for a swim. Why not? Good idea. Now, we have the second conditional. And we use it when we want to imagine that the present situation is different. If I got sick, I would go to the doctor. This is a hypothetical sentence, right? It's not real. Well, look at me. Do I look sick? No, I'm not sick. And in fact, I wish you all be healthy during this quarantine period. Be very careful. It's very important, okay? Deal? And I'm keeping on. I am imagining that the present situation is different for some reason. I am imagining that I'm sick now. And if it were true, I would probably visit my doctor. Well, but to express this in English, we use different tenses. We use past simple in the if clause and we use modal would plus our verb infinitive. We use modals to show the imaginary situation. If I had more money, I would buy a boat. Just dreams. Well, now I'd like to mention that it's really common and natural to use contractions in conditional sentences. I would definitely say when I'm speaking naturally, like this. If I had more money, I'd buy a boat. It sounds natural. I'd, he'd, you'd, they'd. So this pronunciation is much more common in spoken English. There are lots of different uses for the second conditional. We use it to give an advice, to give the reason why we can't do something, and generally just to imagine life is different. And the next step is the third conditional. The third conditional is the past unreal conditional. If I had been sick, I would have gone to the doctor. We use this structure to imagine a different past, different to one that actually happened, right? We use if with the past perfect tense and would have with the past participle form. Just to be clear, the if clause did not actually happen, but I'm imagining the result if the past action was different, you see? So in this situation, was I really sick? I'm not talking about what actually happened. I'm talking about what could have happened in the past, but didn't. You see now? Well, and what I would have done if that had happened. Just like this. Well, can you think of any time when this grammatical structure would actually be used? Not that much. Not that much. But when you regret something in the past, something that happened, for example, in the past, and you wished that the result was different. That's exactly. If we had looked at the weather report, I would have stayed home. Good example. So, that was another view of conditional sentences in English. Now, with all of this in mind, it is possible to use mixed conditional sentences. But I think that's a lesson for another day. Then, thank you for your watching. It was a great pleasure to communicate with you. And I hope we'll see soon during our next lesson. Bye for now.